NBA player props here for Friday, April 7th. Before I get started, there's a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks, or you guys can use promo code TUFF to sign up. They will match 100% of your first deposit. There's a Discord link in the description where the main server is completely free. We'd also have that Patreon link in the description where I do post all the plays here that I'm making on PrizePicks for each given sport that I do play. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not gambling advice. Simply just plays I'm personally looking at making, hopefully give you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. Let's get into it, you guys. We have a pretty decent sized slate today. I believe today, I think Sunday, and I believe there might be games on Monday as we wrap up this NBA season. Obviously, there's a ton of teams that have nothing to play for. There's a few teams that have something to play for, and then there's just the teams that haven't had anything to play for a while now, and they're looking to get their young guys some run here. So I got two players that I'm targeting on this slate. Don't want to waste anyone's time. Let's just get right into it. The first one is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be Svi Mikhailuk. Not his points. I'm taking his over 20.5 points plus assists here against the Houston Rockets. Now, taking a look at this matchup, we got Houston versus Charlotte. This should be a close one. 4.5 point spread in Charlotte. Home game for Svi Mikhailuk. All the players here listed that are out for Charlotte. Should be some massive usage for him. So Svi has actually hit the over on this in 4 straight games, seeing 33 plus minutes. He had 26 against OKC, 21 against Chicago, 31 against Toronto, and then 24 in the next game against Toronto, and has taken 13, 12, 17, and 14 field goal attempts over his last 4 games here. But what I like about Svi is that he's getting insane usage, and these potential assists are there for him. I mean, you can see 7, 5, 5, and 8 assists over his last 4 games. Over his last 4, he is averaging 8.3 potential assists and converting 6.3 assists per game of those. It is just a great matchup here against Houston. We can see here shooting guards versus Houston over the last 15, right? You can see here, I mean, just production overall. We're looking at the 5th most fantasy points to the shooting guard position. If we just take a look at this for the whole season, we know Houston's getting cooked by shooting guards. You can see here 5th most points per game to shooting guards. You could also make the debate that Svi kind of playing the 3. McGowan's is more of a 2. So, I mean, you can see you're listed as a 2 here on RotoWire, but I would consider him more of a 3. And if we take a look at Rockets to 3s, I mean, over the course of the season, the 3rd most points per game to the small forward position. If we go to over the last 7, 4th most points per game to the small forward position over the last 15, 2nd most points per game to the small forward position. So we know that the Rockets are getting cooked. We can see your 3-pointers made. The most 3s to the small forward position. We know Svi can absolutely light it up. I would consider him close to an elite shooter. 2 for 5, 2 for 5, 5 for 9, and 3 for 8. I mean, I think he's good for at least 3 3-pointers tonight. But I'm taking 20.5 PA. I think that in combination with his potential assists that he's been seeing over these last couple of games here, obviously the usage is going to be massive for him. We take a look at his usage, right? So PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable, most likely not going to play. Over the last 6 games, Svi in a 103-minute sample size, seeing the highest usage on the team at 24.3. He's averaging 23.4 points per game and 7.3 assists. So we're looking at well over 30 PA is what he's averaging per 36 minutes over his last 6 games. All we need tonight is 21. So I think the value is just there. The odds for us here, we look at 20.5. Caesars has this at minus 139 to go over 20.5 for Svi. Again, like I said, elite matchup. We see here shooting guards, points plus assists, game log versus the Rockets. I mean, decent hit rate. We can see Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett, Austin Reeves, Desmond Bane, Jaden Ivey, and Luke Kennard have all hit the over on this just in recent weeks. I mean, we're talking about since just March 22nd. All of these shooting guards have hit the over on this line against Houston. Like the odds here for Svi, I think he gets 34 to 36 minutes tonight. Should take around 15 to 16 shot attempts, which should be well enough, for him to hit the over on this. So I like Svi Mikhailuk over 20.5 PA here against Houston. And then the other one is going to be, we're going back to him. It was a little bit of a sweat last game, but I'm going back to Benedict Mathurin over 25.5 PRA here against the Detroit Pistons. Now, it's just an elite matchup for Indiana against Detroit and vice versa, Detroit for Indiana. This should be a high-scoring, just no defense type matchup with all the young guys playing. Miles Turner questionable. Most likely he's going to sit as well. I don't see any reason for him to suit up in this matchup. So we're looking at Mathurin really leading, having the highest usage in that offense against the Detroit Pistons team that cannot stop guards or wings at all. So we're looking at 231 over-under.
Indiana is playing at home here. So we take a look at Matherin's PRA game log this season without Tyrese Halliburton. He's over this in 4 of his last 5 games. 32 against Dallas, 40 against Milwaukee, had 19 against OKC, which just is a horrendous game. He only took 8 field goal attempts, and then has had 28 and 29 against New York and Cleveland, which you could consider two. I mean, he had 40 against Cleveland, 40 against Milwaukee, 28 against Cleveland, and 29 against the Knicks. You could debate all 3 of those teams are really, really good perimeter defensive teams. And he's cleared the over on this. Now he gets probably the worst perimeter defensive team in the NBA in the Detroit Pistons, who he's faced already this season. Early on, right? We're talking about very early on in the season. Back in October, he had 36 PRA against the Pistons. Now, kind of a narrative-based matchup here, going off against Jaden Ivey, who was picked before him. Just that other shooting guard picked before him, right? They're going to be matched up throughout their careers. I think there is a little bit of competitive nature here, so I like this narrative base as well. I think Matherin's going to take some shot attempts. Obviously, going to be motivated to outperform Jaden Ivey in this matchup. I mean, in just comparison, Matherin is over in 4 of his last 5. Like I said, let's go to it. He's over in 4 of his last 5, right? And then we take a look at Jaden Ivey. So Matherin's at 25.5. Just for reference, like Ivey's at 32.5. So I think we get value here with Matherin, which should be a nice matchup between these 2 young shooting guards here. We take a look here at the usage though for Matherin over the course of the entire season in a 371.2 minute sample size at home with Tyrese, Chris Doherty, and Miles Turner off the floor. Matherin averaging 25.2 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.7 assists. So he's averaging, close to 32, over 32 PRA. All we need tonight is 26 for him. Some decent odds for us as well, minus 129 on Caesar Sportsbook to go over 25.5 here. Again, like I said, Detroit just horrible at guarding the 2. All season long just been getting cooked. You can see here Detroit over the last 15, 4th most points per game to the shooting guard position. Just overall on the season here, Detroit against the 2s, like 3rd most points per game. I mean, Benedict could easily, honestly, hit 25 PRA with just points alone. We know Benedict can score. He's hit at least 25 points numerous times this season on points alone. I just love the matchup. I love the game script kind of for Benedict here against Jaden Ivey. Great odds for us as well. We look at other shooting guards, PRA game log against the Pistons recently. I mean, this is just in the last 15 games or so. Jalen Williams, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Josh Giddey, Tyler Hero, Lugan Stort all have hit the over on this pretty easily. I like Matherin over 25.5 PRA. So here are the 2 plays here for this YouTube video. Obviously, the slate is super weird, you guys, so make sure you guys are just saving your bankroll, betting kind of lightly right now. I know it's Flex Friday, free $20 entry essentially on PrizePicks, but keep that in mind. NBA is super, super weird right now as we head towards the end of the season, into the play-in, into the playoffs. Let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about these 2 plays. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.